Hey, Dre, we're getting started.
Yay! Congratulations. Thank you for doing this.
Hear you.
Hi. Yes.
Got Dre Campbell in the house virtually.
Happy to be here.
So welcome everyone to Tell 78 Overcome, which is both the Black History Edition. It is both the Black History Edition and the 8th anniversary of Tell. 8 years ago, Dre Campbell came to us with an idea. And here we are 8 years later, living it out. Surviving the COVID. Yeah. Many of these have been on Zoom, but we are happily back in person.
Death to Zoom.
Death to Zoom, even though it's enabling Gray to watch right now. So, it's feelings. But we're so glad that Tell has lived on, that it's also a podcast, thanks to Brick. So it lives on in many media, on many levels. My name is Greg Newton. I am the co-founder with my partner, Donnie Jokum, of the Bureau of General Services Queer Division. Bureau of General Services Queer Division is a government agency for a government that does not yet exist. And the primary service we provide is holding this space for queer culture and queer people like y'all. So thanks for coming. I'm going to turn the mic over to our special guest host for tonight, Calvin Cato. Please put your hands up.
Woo!
Wow, thank you so much. I saw like a trio of a gaggle of blacks. I was like, are they gonna open up their door?
Gaggle of blacks.
A gaggle of blacks, that's what I call them. A gaggle of blacks, a Karen of whites. Hello, everybody. Also, hi, Dre. Oh, Dre's muted now.
Yes, I love you. I'm so excited to be watching. Thank you.
This is exactly like every Zoom interview. Like, thank you. Oh, sorry. Okay. No, thank you. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Dre is the founder of the show. Please clap it for Dre, who is in absentia right now. I'm so happy Dre specifically wanted to do like a Black History Month version of this show. And so I feel really blessed and honored to get to do this and to get to just get a lot of queer Black voices in a room. And I know that there is not much of us right now, but our stories are very important. And as you know, a lot of queer people of color are just at such a greater risk of both physical and sexual violence. So it's good to just have our voices be heard and like, let's talk some shit about dicks and pussies. Oh, I hate pussies. Oh. That yeah. No, I mean, I love pussies. Their tensile strength, amazing. But like, I'm not, you know, like I hate, because I don't want to be one of those gay guys. Like I hate when gay men are like, ugh, vaginas are just like, no. It's like a canal of hate. Like I hate that.
Yeah.
And like I'm normally never this preachy. Sir, I promise I'm not this preachy. I really like.
Oh, right.
I'll preach.
I'm just trying to win you over. That's all.
Be preachy.
But like there is something that's very body shaming when you hear queer people who are like, for example, like lesbians are like penis is ugh, or like when gay men are like vagina is gross. Like it's like, no, like that's just a body part. It's okay. They're trans men, they're trans women. Please don't do that. Don't hate on people. Let's all love each other. It's like Tiger King season 2 of the pandemic. Like we're going through a lot. We gotta let some things go. Also, round of applause to Emily, everybody. I just want to make sure you get your due. Brick TV, brick by brick, it makes a pyramid. There we go. Can you tell I do a show 5 days a week? That's why I'm always just segueing and talking. Anywho. I just heard Dre's
That was my dog.
you could have just lied and said it was a laugh, Dre. Come on. Help a brother out on Black History Month. That's my reparations. Give me a laugh. Just 3/5 of one. That's that. The ancestors, they're up there. Oh boy. Also thank you, seriously, everyone who did make it, thank you for being here, because there was a whole freak snowstorm that happened. Someone rolled an 8 in Jumanji, apparently. It was like crazy. Like, I swear to God, it's times like this where I'm like, I think I want to give up on New York City. And like, I lived here. You think so? I don't know.
New York City. Come on, this is it.
I don't know. I've lived here for an undisclosed number of years. I can't say my agent will kill me. But like, how long have you lived in New York City?
I was born up in the Bronx, raised out in Long Island, and I started living back in New York City in 1975. I got a studio apartment for $165 a month.
Wow.
I now live in Park Slope, where I've been living for 44 years.
Wow. Are you single?
No, I have a cat.
So you do like pussy. All right. Rally bar.
Yeah, exactly.
I was actually, sorry, you're a rarity. I was born and raised in New York City. I lived in New York City pretty much all my life. I lived in Florida for a very brief stint that we don't like. Yeah. It was like I lived in a suburb of a suburb of a suburb of Orlando. Like, I lived in this little place called Deltona. It literally was not even a town. It was called a township. It could not legally be called a town. They were just like, we're a collection of Haitians who live on land here. Like, that's what it was. I was so happy. I was like, I'm getting back to New York. I love being in New York, but like, it just gets too cold here. Like, I'm just, like, I'm at the point where like, I'm like, maybe I just want to move to the most racist part of the South. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll move to East Vernon across Arizona. Like, across is Vernon, that means there's heat. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The only N word I don't want to hear is nor'easter. Like, I'm done. Cut the bullshit. Okay, I'm going to tell you a very quick story, and then I'm going to bring up our lovely performers who, once again, give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much for being here.
Woo!
I didn't even get your name. I'm sorry. What's your name?
I'm Ethan Gonzalez.
Oh, Calvin. Nice to meet you. Awesome. Damn, from the Bronx. I'm like,
Born in the Bronx, raised in Long Island. I live in Park Slope.
I mean, you came up like Jenny. Damn.
Now I'm in the process of converting 50 years of photographs into digital.
Wow. You're like Jenny and Mark Zuckerberg. Just going digital. I don't know why I use this voice. Very quick story. So I'm gonna take you guys way back. We're gonna go back in time to 2007. It was a simpler time, you know. Destiny's Child was still together. White people didn't know what twerking was. Much simpler time. And this is when I had graduated college already, and I was like in New York City, and I was like learning how to be like out, like, because I wasn't really like out and gay. And, you know, I would say things like, I'm finding the right one, you know, like I was like one of those like, oh, I'm 11 or bachelor, you know, it's like one of those kinds of weird 1930s kinds of lies that you tell yourself. And so I decided, I was like, okay, yes, I'm gonna have sex, but I'm gonna, you know, have to do the butt stuff. Because I'd done everything except the butt stuff. I'd never done like the ass virginity loss yet. And so it's a big deal. Don't look at me like that. Once you go ass, there is no more class. Like, it's a lot. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, get ready to lose my virginity. I decided I was gonna go. I had been talking to this comedian who is bisexual. We'll call him Greg because his real name is Mike. And it's fine. He took comedy. So because I was that good. So Greg Mike was like, we were talking for a while, and I was like, hey, you know, I gotta kind of lose this like virginity thing. Hey, come on in. Wow, this is the best time. I'm talking about losing my virginity. Come on in, ladies. Woo! It's about to get sexy up in here. So to keep going, I decided, okay, I'm gonna go on a date with this guy because he was like, I'm not just gonna take it. Like, I want to take you out on a date, and then we'll have a date, and then after the date, we'll go and we'll, you know, have the sex. And so he takes me on a date to Max Brenner's, which is a chocolate restaurant. Which, fun fact, don't do chocolate before anal. It's a lot of Hershey highway. You don't want to do it to yourself. Wasn't ready. Too much. But he did it, he paid, and then we went to his place, which was in the North Bronx, by the way. So that's how you knew how committed I was. I was gonna take a D train and then walk for sex. That's a lot. I don't do that anymore now. If it's not on the same train line as me, it's not happening. But this time I was like, I'm gonna take different colored trains. It was like a Technicolor dream coat of sex. So I go to the North Bronx and like, you know, we have the sex. And here's the thing, is that like, the first time you ever have sex is never a good time because it's always something weird. And he wore a t-shirt during sex, which I don't judge, but it was a Simpsons t-shirt. And it was Ralph Wiggum's face that said, "Me fail English, that's impossible." And like, I had to look at that.
Oh my God.
I mean, trust me, I do need, like, that's why I can't look at FXX. There's too much Simpsons reruns and it just brings me back. Too painful. So we have the sex and then we decide to like date, but then he dumps me. And I was like, you know what, that's fine. I was in it for the sex. And then he saw I was too happy because that's how men are. And he was like, what? No. Let's get back together. So we went back together. And then he dumped me again anyway. And here's the thing. I can stomach being dumped twice. I will not be dumped twice by a man who wore a fucking Simpsons t-shirt during sex. So I'm devastated. I'm trying to figure out what to do. And I talked to friends who were like, you need to just like get like new dick in your life. Like, you know, it's like how dogs can smell cancer. Like exes just smell new dick and then they know, you know, you move forward. And so again, this is like 2007. So I had to find a guy the old fashioned way, Craigslist. And went on Craigslist, put up a profile. I found a guy who responded. He sounded very nice. He was a chef. I was like, that's good. Chefs are nice. And he was like, let's set up a date. And I was like, okay, we're gonna meet in public because it was 2007. Dateline was a thing and I did not want to be on it. So we met in public. He buys himself and me a beer. And so he drinks the first beer in like 3 seconds. And I was like, that's fast and weird. And he goes, oh, do you mind if I just get another beer for us? And I was like, I'm still working on this one. So he just runs to the bar, gets 2 more beers, drinks the second beer, slams it down. And I was like, are you okay? And he goes, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous about something. Like, I should tell you, I should be upfront with you about something. And I was like, okay, what do you need to be upfront about? And he goes, okay, so just so you know, I just got out of jail. And I was like, there's no shame in that. I went to Wesleyan. You know what I mean? Like, I weren't to judge. I don't know your life story. Are you Akon? What's happening? Like, let's find out. It was a bullshit drug charge. And then he goes, what's even more horrifying is I was like, so what were you in jail for? And he said, oh, I got busted because I had sex with someone who was underage, literally air quotes underage, which is worse than just saying underage. Can we all agree? Like, just say underage. Don't make it creepier with underage. And I was so stunned. I was like, well, I am 24. I don't know why I said that to like appease him in case the camera's gonna spring up like Oprah under our seats. Here's the camera, and you got a cop, and you got a cop. Like, I didn't know. So I just said that. And afterwards, the day was really great. Like, honestly, cleared the air. And then he was like, hey, do you want to come back to my place and we can, you know, fool around? And I said, yeah, sure. And then he was like, I live in Bensonhurst, which Anthony, you do not know. Bensonhurst is very deep into Brooklyn. And again, I've seen a lot of Dateline. You learn not to go to a second location. Like, that's where they find your teeth. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I was desperate because I was like, I need to win and I need to move forward. So I do go with him. We go all the way to Bensonhurst. And that, when we get to his apartment, he's like, there's one more thing I should tell you. And I was like, oh, why this plot twist? And so he opens the door and he is a hoarder, like straight up, like there's like boxes and newspapers everywhere. It's like, you know, the kind of hoarding where you keep hearing a cat, but you don't see a cat. Like, it was like that level. And he like carves a path like Candyland style. Like, he's like, just go this way and then this way and then this way to get into the bedroom. I mean, oh my God, it's nothing sexier than a 1972 newspaper of Nixon. You know what I mean? Just poured everything, girl. I didn't love myself back then. So we had sex. It was very nice. And then he goes, oh, you know, are you hungry? I can get you something. And I was like, okay, sure. And then he leaves and goes to the kitchen and comes back with a bowl of gazpacho soup. And I don't know if you've ever been naked in bed eating gazpacho soup. That's not really the thing you want to be doing. I was like, this is a very sad gay indie movie right now. Can we move to the part where we raise horses together? Like, I don't want this to be my life. And so then he goes, oh yeah, and you mentioned that, you know, you're doing stand-up comedy. I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, you know, I love Donald Glover. And I was like, oh, cool. And then he goes, did you know Donald Glover is Danny Glover's son? That's not true. But I didn't want to correct him. I have soup in my lap. So I'm like, oh, sure, whatever. And then he goes, you know what my favorite stand-up comedy is? The Big Bang Theory. And then I was like, I'm out. We got to just fuck all of this.
No.
So I'm like putting on my clothes, I'm getting ready to leave. And then he goes, oh, I feel so bad because you live so far away from here. And I was like, yeah, no, it's fine, but don't worry about it. He goes, do you need cab money? And I was like, yeah, you know, but don't worry about it. And then he gave me $50. And I was like, $50? I'm 24, exactly. Yeah, I'm 24. That's like 8 box wines. I was like, what? So I was like, thank you so much. And he's like, do you want to call the cab? I was like, I'll call the cab from downstairs. I literally went downstairs. I pocketed $50. I walked a mile to the nearest train station and I overcame, y'all. Like me, Ethan. Listen. Now, are you guys ready? We got some wonderful storytellers. Are you guys ready for tonight? Storyteller is such a hilarious comedian and like a tour de force. I always love and respect yourself so much. And I'm slipping. I wish I could remember the name of your show that you do.
Black Light Comedy Show.
There we go. All lady showcase, lady femme presenting, I assume, or AFAT or
Listen,
femme.
ask me to get on.
I just want to make sure so that Ethan and these two lovely ladies in the back come, because it's wonderful lady comedians and it's so hilarious. Please welcome to the stage, Lois Thompson.
Heard that? And when did COVID start? 2 years ago? I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that 2 years. Coming to the stage, Lois Thompson. Oh my God. So it's a fine feeling. Like I'm on music, tiny desk. Tiny desk. But I'm like, you know, I don't have my bongos. God, your story was so nice and fun. My story's not that fun. No, you're not. Yeah, doesn't have to be fun. I guess bring this fucking room like down to the ground right now with the shit I want to talk about. Bring it on. I can make you cry. I like to make the girls cry. My wife hates it, but I like it. Hi, Brick. I was gonna say I'm in Brooklyn, but actually I'm not anymore. When they mentioned, oh, this is the Black History Month edition, I was like, Black History Month. Oh yeah, right. That, like, I live in Montclair. I forgot. I'm in that Jersey liberal bubble of like, you know, love and acceptance and everything. But 3 blocks outside of Montclair, yes. Jersey is like that.
Could be worse. It could be accordions.
Could be accordions. No, burning crosses and hanging Black people, a little tiny worse than accordions, sir. Sorry. I don't want to disappoint you in your afro. Now I gotta start this story. Now it's hard. You know, there had not been a day in my life up until a few years ago that I hadn't been thinking about suicide. It was always table. Like always on the table as a thing. Like, oh, what are you gonna do tonight? I don't know. I might commit suicide. I don't know. But no, it's not like, that's not, I have to be truthful to it, okay? My life is fantastic. Fantastic. When I tell you my life is amazing, my life is fucking amazing. I own that. And you know, that back then, same thing, amazing. Except that every once in a while, like this thing, it was like, I don't know, I would call it the darkness, like just the darkness. It would just come and just fucking roll over me. And I tell you, I couldn't see a fucking thing, left to right. I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see the point. I couldn't see, why are we doing this? What is it? What is life? What's the fucking point? What really? So that like you can love people and then watch them die and then have to go bury them and have to like have conversations with people who know that they had fucking issues with them and have issues with you because of who you are and all the shit like that. And they just wanna, you know, get out of the room. I'm so sorry. You're not sorry. If you were fucking sorry, you would have called. But you never fucking called, so fuck you. Ah. But back to suicide, the thing about suicide is this, you have to get it right.
Yeah.
You like, you know, it's a commitment. If you're going to commit suicide, like fucking do it right. And my thing was, I want to do it right. So I had to research that shit. You know, I had to do it. I had to check it out. I was like, okay, hang yourself. You can hang yourself. Do you realize how long it takes to die by hanging? And so, yeah, exactly. Especially if it's not done by professionals. If it's not done by people who really know how many feet need to drop, how tight the rope needs to be, it could be a fucking moment. You're up there hanging, it's gonna, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, I can't.
And then you're like, who wants to walk around being a suicide fuck up? Like, you know, just like half your fucking face, you know, because your finger got sweaty on the gun while you went to press it down and just shot off half your face.
Oh my
Half face life. I mean, is this
Suicide fuck.
more than your whole face life? Why not just fucking go ahead and finish killing yourself, shoot off the other side? I mean, bit by bit, you're gonna fucking get it done. It's gonna happen. It can happen. Just gotta dry your hands. People don't even realize that. You're upset, obviously. You're there trying to kill yourself. Your finger's gonna slip off the trigger. The gun is not, it's gonna go to the wrong side. You just blow half your fucking face off. I don't know why people have not figured that out. I don't know. And with the pills, that's not the way you die. You don't die. You take sleeping pills, you don't die. Like, oh, I'm going to sleep. And I'm just never waking up. No, 65% of people that take barbiturates or any kind of like respiratory suppression pill die of choking on their own vomit. So that's not a pretty picture, you know? And I love my wife. I don't want to, like, you know, you can't die ugly. She got to fucking deal with that. You can't do that. I was even when I was thinking about blowing my head off, I was like, okay, I need to find a bag that is going to at least hold my brains and shit in there so that she wouldn't have to like fucking come in. I have to clean the wall. I gotta clean the wall. Or move because you can't get all the blood out and this reminds you of that and all that shit. Like, you know, you gotta be considerate. You gotta be considerate. I did think of a way. And the way was this. Run yourself a nice warm tub, like all the way up to the top. So when you get in it, like you're right up to your neck, you know, Whitney style. And then what you do is that you inject Richard, right? Anthony. I was like, well, close, right? Right. I'm like white people. Alice? No, Shaniqua. Close. It's okay. I'm not triggering you or anything, right? Because you're looking at me real serious, and I just want you to smile.
Oh no!
Oh, you're good. Okay, I'll squeeze your nipples just a little bit, just to make you smile. So here's what happened. So here's the thought. So you get in a warm tub, right? You inject the aesthetic into your thigh, you know, and it's like the same one that they put in the mouth. What's the thing they put in the mouth?
Oh,
Novocaine. Novocaine into your thigh. Good amount. Take a couple of sedatives, not a lot. You don't want to take vomit amount. Couple. Just relax enough to get through everything, right? Then you take really, really sharp razor blade, and you cut your femur. Right? You cut femur, not your femur. I broke my femur. Look at that memory coming back. Triggered. You cut your femoral artery. And then you sit in the warm tub and you relax and you bleed out. That's how you do it. That's a way to go. The red water, not so bad, goes down the drain. People don't really take baths anyway, so you can still use a shower, right? And then you're dead. But alas, this thing occurs. I fall in love. Great woman, still my wife now. How many years we're talking about? What year is it? 2022?
Yeah. That's right, Lois. You better get it right.
13. 13 years. So a few years ago, she says, hey, let's have a baby. And I'm like, okay. Like, what else are you gonna say? If a woman says to you, let's have a baby, you can't say, no, you just can't. It's like, you're almost gambling that, okay, listen, I'm gonna go with you all the way. Trust me, this will never work. Like, it'll never happen. I just felt like, we're too old. Let me tell you, there are miracles in powdered eggs. Fucking shit happens. Shit happens. Makes it work. And there's a process. I mean, it's not an accident for us to get pregnant. It's not like, you guys straight again. Yeah, the two of you. Yeah.
We're queer.
Okay, oh, great, okay. Just because, or whatever, that doesn't listen, but she's like, we're here. No, that doesn't necessarily mean that. That doesn't, but let me tell you, it's not an accident. It's not like you just, what'd you say?
I said, we're from, I understand.
Thank you. I have a hard time with all that. I'm like, there they are over there.
Yeah.
I can't. Even that's the thing. They think because like you're gay, like you understand everything. I don't automatically understand everything. Like, send me a fucking booklet, let me read it, let me study it and find out what we're doing now, because I fucking don't know. We're just gay in suburbs, and that's where was I?
The baby.
The baby. Yeah, so where I am. It's not an accident. So there's a lot of drugs involved. And let me tell you, this shit should be doctor stuff. This should be for doctors. It's bullshit. They send you all kinds of chemicals that you have to mix together in a giant needle and then take your scared ass and inject it into another scared person. Can you fucking imagine the process of that? But it fucking worked. And apparently I'm like, so who am I in this process? Am I mother too, or am I daddy? Like, who am I? I'm daddy. Okay, so the needle was my dick. I'm a needle dick, but I'm a daddy. So here's the thing, the baby gets born. And I'm just kind of freaked out because I'm thinking, oh shit, really, like this really happened, it really worked, it really happened. I mean, up to the moment we're in there and the delivery room, I'm saying, this is fucking crazy, this is fucking crazy. God, you're fucking nuts. But you know what? If you want this, it's cool. It's all right. I'll rock with it. No problem like that. And my wife's having a C-section, it's all happening. And they had a little tent up in front of you like this. And then when the baby starts to come out, they go, all right, here comes the baby. They do that thing, and then they drop the little tent thing, and then here comes the baby. So I'm there holding my wife's hand, like, how are you doing? She's like, yeah, I'm good. Is everything going? Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. The doctor's like, all right, here comes the baby. And he got this face. And then he goes, all right, here comes the baby. And I'm watching. And all of a sudden he's like I see him look at the nurse next to him. And I'm like, oh, really? See, God, I knew we were fake. I knew you were a fucking piece of shit. I can't believe you're gonna fucking let this happen after all this fucking shit we've been through. Really, God, you're really gonna fucking let this happen? They finally crank the baby out. They bring the tent back up. So it's like, oh, don't look, don't see. Crank the baby out. The baby is blue. And they take her over there. Instead of bringing her to us, they take her there. And I'm looking at that going, oh, okay. So, what do I believe in right now? I don't know. God is full of shit, because if he's letting this happen, this is fucking nuts. And then you hear, the baby is alive. Fantastic. They bring the baby back. They give the baby to me. They tell you, you got to go out the room right here. It's okay, take the baby with you. Okay, I have the baby. I'm going outside. I'm sitting there. I'm looking at her little face. Her eyes are still closed. I'm looking at her. And I take my wife to go and get the little sew up little job. And I'm telling them, make it tight, because that's the way I like it. And finally, at one point, the baby opens her eyes and she looks at me. And I look at her. And that feeling that I'd had all that time of saying, this is all temporary and this can go away and it's all right, instantly evaporates from my body. And I'm looking at her and I'm looking at her and I'm looking at her. She's looking at me, she's looking at me, she's looking at me. And it's not until a day later that I find out, while I'm looking at her and seeing her, she actually can't see me because she had cataracts. And that was a whole moment of, okay, so now this, it's like, okay, so you get this thing that's gonna keep you alive, but now, are you ready for this? And I didn't know there's a whole world of people called baby eye doctors. No fucking idea, you just never know. How am I doing? Got 2 minutes? We go through all of the processes with her, several surgeries, several procedures, all kinds of shit. Philadelphia, Boston, New York, best fucking people you can find. And now she can see.
Yes, honey.
I'm very, very grateful about that. And I feel like my life, I put the demons to rest. The demons somehow got killed by her love and her innocence and her look and that thing for me. It just kind of like settled them down and got them quiet. And now if you want to circle back to the theme of overcome, I'll say this. My wife didn't want me to tell that story. I told her that was the story I was going to tell, but she didn't want me to tell it. But I think it's important for us to like just get this stuff out, because just by your nods and your feeling, I tell that you understand what that's all about. And tonight, Saturday night, this is usually our sex night.
It still can be.
Wow.
Wow.
You gotta get to Montclair now.
I know that when I go home, and I'm gonna tell her I told the story. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell her I told the story.
You don't tell.
And she's gonna punish me, you know, by not letting us not giving me the nookie. So I chose to do this. Overcome.
Yes.
Lois Thompson, round of applause, everybody.
Yes.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Someone Venmo Lois some money so she can take a Port Authority bus home. At this peep show on 42nd Street beforehand. Lois Thompson, another round of applause. We're gonna keep this moving. Our next storyteller. This is another very hilarious comedian who is in town from DC. And he's been featured in numerous festivals, including the DC Comedy Festival and the Memphis Urban Laughs Festival. This guy, super duper nice. He comes very highly recommended, and I'm really excited to hear what he's gonna do on the stage. Please welcome Anthony Oakes. All right, beautiful people, make some noise. If you're a beautiful person, make some noise. Beautiful people. Oh. Nothing like vanity to bond us together. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do a little comedy before I tell my story, okay? It all relates to it. My name is Anthony Oakes. I'm originally from North Carolina. Anybody ever been in North Carolina? Okay, North Carolina. We make cigarettes. It's our claim to fame. I'm just excited to be doing live shows again. Give it up for Calvin and everyone for putting this show together. I recently did a live show at the Wharf in DC. They were taking temperatures at the door. I was on CP time. Some of y'all know what that is. Some of you may not. Ask your neighbor. When I got there, the guy said, I can't let you down until I take your temperature. I said, cool. He put the device to my head, it didn't beep. I said, okay, I'm on the show, I need to get downstairs. He said, oh, let me go get the other one. Do you know this man came back with an actual stick thermometer? And it didn't even have the plastic sheath on it. It was raw dog. You would think that I'm into that, but I'm not. But I took one for the team, though. Yeah, I let him take my temperature, and then I pulled up my pants and went downstairs. Sometimes you have to be a giver and a receiver. Like Mr. Gonzalez said earlier, I am sick of Zoom. It worked during the pandemic. It's like, I'm just sick of it. It's overkill. Zoom for work, Zoom for church, Zoom for sex. Like it's just too much. Like, I live in a land far, far away from here called Southeast DC, and people are always arguing outside of my apartment. It's every night. I'm just like, break up. He's cheating on you anyway. But because I can't separate my real life from my Zoom life, now I just open the door and say, excuse me, can you please mute your mics? And then one of them was ugly. I was like, sir, could you turn your camera off for me, please? In real time. I am gay. Yeah. Such as the zebra print sweater, give it away. I try to be on the down low. Be out there. Yeah, I didn't know that I was gay though. I just thought that I was really into men's fitness magazines or wrestling. You know what I'm saying? It's the positions for me just to. Just seems so gay. Yeah, I talk about overcoming. I grew up in the church. Anybody else grow up in the church? Okay, therapy. We have counselors in the back for you. It's crazy. People don't realize how difficult it is being a gay child, in church. You're giving God your all, and then the preacher's like, you're going to hell. Like, that's traumatic, right? Like the whole time I was like, what am I gonna wear in hell? Probably something backless, you know what I'm saying? Back there. Yeah, both my parents were ministers. Yeah, thank you for the sympathy like that. I felt that. Yeah, it was very difficult. Especially when you're 13. You're going through puberty. You're in your room with the door closed, trying to see what's going on with your 13-year-old body. And my dad took the door off the hinges. Well, ain't no closed doors, no Black Daddy house, no way. Open that door, you don't pay no bills in this house. It's Black History Month. So where's the next place you go to feel comfortable? Oh. Yes. I feel like you were on Jeopardy. Like, I'll take bathroom for $600. Double Jeopardy. That's what I thought too. I thought the bathroom was like a safe space, but I would literally be in the bathroom, seeing what's going on with my 13-year-old body. And my mom would be on the other side of the door like, Anthony, what are you doing in there? Jesus is watching. So for the longest time, I thought Jesus was gay too. Like, okay, Jesus, watching over me in the bathroom. God is still in the blessing business. That's weird. I gotta tell your father. It's a whole thing. Yeah, I recently got engaged. I'm engaged to a Blegan. Anybody know what that is?
Black vegan.
It's a Black vegan. Yeah. It's the same as a vegan. They're just always late for dinner. It's crazy. Speaking of love, like here's where my overcoming came from. I am a recovering cocaine addict. I've been clean for 6 years. Yeah, it was difficult. Like, you know, I try to explain how difficult it was to give up cocaine because it was so good. And I try to tell people, like, just imagine like you're Joe Biden and cocaine is like the Build Back Better bill. That's how hard it is. Very difficult. I never thought that I would find love. I never thought that I would find purpose. And if I did that, I would just snort it. How it was. I was living in North Carolina. I had to get away. I felt stifled. I do come from the church, and when you don't know your purpose in the church, it's like you're basically an outcast. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was older, but I just felt like I could not thrive in North Carolina. I moved up to DC about 8 years ago, and I worked for a natural hair care salon. And one day this guy came in and he was like, God, dude, you are so funny. Have you ever thought about like doing stand-up? And I was like, well, you know, people say I'm funny. You know, I can tell a joke or two, you know. But, you know, I was like, you know, people tell me that all the time, but he was like, no, my homeboy, he's a comedian, you know, I'm going to give you his name and number, and then you can, you know, hook up with him and he can like show you the ropes. And, you know, and I'm shampooing him at this point. So I'm really hearing like, wow, 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 wow. Yes, he's talking. But he gave me the number. I looked at it, but I feel like I left it in my pants and washed them in the washing machine or something. And about, I'd say not a month later, another client comes into the salon and I'm shampooing her. She was like, oh my God, like you're so funny. Like, have you ever thought about doing stand-up? I was like, wow, that's crazy that you said that. This guy just came in here and he said the same thing. She said, I'm taking a workshop. I feel like you should, you know, take the workshop. My boss overheard the conversation. He was like, I'll give you off. You know what I'm saying? And let you, because you are funny. And I used to, you know, like go through the salon and make people laugh and, you know, do a little, but it kind of got a little coonish to me. You know, I got to, you know, be tap dancing through the salon. But I took the workshop. It was probably about like 8 weeks or so. And then they do a showcase. So I did the showcase, and when I told my first joke ever, it was as if time stopped. And this wave of epiphany just rolled over me and was just like, you have to stop doing drugs. This is your purpose. You should have been doing this your entire life. This is what you're here for. And as I'm telling these jokes, like I hear the laughter coming in, but in my head, there's a whole nother thing going on. And that's when I stopped doing cocaine. That was my last, well, actually, that was in November of 2015, I think. And then that following February, we got snowed in DC. And then I got snowed in DC. And then I was just so, just because I had gone for like 3 months, you know what I'm saying, without doing it. And I was just so disgusted with, you know, me falling off the wagon. But after that, it was just like smooth sailing. I found my fiance. We've been together for 6 years. And it's just been a whirlwind. So I just encourage people to find their purpose, live in their truth, and you will truly overcome. And that's my story. My name is Anthony Oakes. Anthony Oakes, everybody, huge round of applause. Congratulations. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna.
Alvin,
Oh,
pass the bag again.
pass the
Bag so people
Pass
guys
the
get
bag.
more money.
what?
Did she say pass the bag?
Yeah. Should there be a bag here?
Yeah, get a bag. Contribute. Pay. I want you all to get paid.
Oh, pass the bag. Sorry. Oh, the literal bag that should have money in it. Okay.
That too, honey.
We're rewinding the cocaine overcoming. Pass the down, girl. Find a flat surface. No, I'm sorry. So there is a bag that will be passed around by Donnie. Also, feel free. There's wine in the back if you want some wine. But the bag is all the proceeds will go to the performers. So if you want to throw some money in, feel free to do so. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I know. So Ethan, if you want to throw $100 in, that would be great. I'm just kidding, but we'll pass it around. And there should be another person here yet. So this may be your final performer for tonight. Are you guys ready for your final performer? Now, this person is super amazing, wonderful comedian. Oh my God. She produces like 8 shows a week. I don't know how you do it. And sleep. You do a wonderful show. I love it. I'm just talking to you directly. You are my inspiration. I see you, Miss Seeley. I don't know what happens. But if you're ever in Brooklyn, she hosts a wonderful monthly show at the Daily Press. It's all queer people of color. There's like one token white because we have to. It's America. And don't get me started. And she also has a wonderful comedy and burlesque queer that's also all queer POC based. Please welcome to the stage, Glow Butler.
Give it up for Calvin. And all the comedians that are, I don't know why I'm out of breath. Am I just over? Oh, I'm overcoming. This is all Oh my goodness. Oh, hey, world of Zoom or whatever. Hey, what's going on, Dre? It's Dre. I was like, world of Zoom, and then I see Dre. Oh my gosh. It's been, you know what? I've had so many issues with identity for myself, and just like feeling like I'm adjusting into the world or whatnot. So like I could relate to everybody's story tonight. And I feel like you're just gonna get like a snippet of everything that you've probably already heard before. But for me, it was a little bit different. I remember, as far as like being gay, I remember when I acknowledged it for the first time, and I was like probably like 16. I was in high school, and I had a friend, a really close friend, and she was just like, you know, I told her, and she decided to. I'm from South Carolina, okay, so let's like that rewind back. I'm from South Carolina, so of course, only thing people were doing down there was making fun of gay people, trans folks, or sex workers, stuff like that. So like, even if you knew you were gay, you were in the circle of people who were like making fun. You didn't want anybody to like assume anything of you. So I had a friend who I told I trusted and who I've known for a long time, and she used me as the butt of the joke in like a group of friends and stuff. And you know, I could totally relate to Lois because I immediately, when that happened, I ran to the library and just wrote a suicidal note because I was just like, this is not how, I was like, I would feel like I would just burn or something. Like if somebody, I don't know what I was really thinking that would happen if somebody knew, but I was like, I was one of those kids that instead of, you know, to prevent people from making fun of me, I made the joke first. You know what I mean? So somebody beating me to it, I felt like, okay, somebody come murder me now because like I don't want to be the butt of the joke, and I didn't see gay people being a thing in the future. Like that just wasn't happening. Even in like 2000, and I was like, like now everybody want to be gay. You know what I mean? Like, mom want to be gay. You know what I mean? Everybody's just like, this is convenient. You know. So anyway, I didn't have. And I swear to you guys, now I tried to come out to my mother twice. Okay, I tried coming out to my mom. And like the first time I tried coming out to my mom, I was 10 years old, and my mom was taking me to her doctor's appointment, and randomly she asked me in the car, she's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to be a gynecologist. She was like, yeah, she's like, so you want to smell vagina all day? I'm like, look at it. And I was like, oh my God, mommy, that would be so amazing. It's the legal age to be lesbian, like 15, like, as soon as I get my license, I could drive my first girlfriend's house. But I was like, really, I was just like, I wanted to see, because my mom had no clue. She wouldn't think something like that's a red flag, or like that I would be, you know what I mean? Because parents now would be like, oh my God, my child is like gay now for all of these little things. But like, I said it flew right over her head. She didn't think anything about it. Second time was when I finally watched The L Word, which was fucking amazing. And that was the only thing we can identify with, even as a Black gay woman, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing I can like identify with, and fucking Bet, like in the, you know, and you can only tell if Bet was gay because she stood next to her sister Kit, you know, who is Pam Grier, you know what I mean? So that's the only time in the show you knew Bet was Black, you know what I mean? And then they made a big thing of, you know, they created a storyline based off of that. But anyway, that was like the only thing. We didn't have, to this day, we don't have two Black lesbians that are like identified, you know, that we can represent. There's nobody, you know what I mean? Everybody's trying to, I'm all in interracial, but I'm just saying like, there's not anything out there, you know? So I did try to show my mom, like, no, sorry, I was moving out of my dorm room in college, and my mom saw the DVDs before Netflix. So like, she had the DVD, she saw DVDs of like The L Word, and she was like, oh my God, I love this show. But like, how do you know about this show? And then I looked at my mom holding those fucking DVDs in her hand, and I'm just like, I love this show, but trick question, how the fuck do you know about this show? I was like, let's discuss this. You know, at least I'm living my truth. What the fuck are you doing right now, right? So that happened. And for my dad passed away when I was really young. I was 7 years old, my dad passed away. And when I was like 5, my dad looked at me, he was just like, you know, all right, you're not allowed to get married to a man until you're 35 years old. And then he looked at me again, and he was like, actually, you can't even date a guy until you're 35. And then he eventually was just like, no boys allowed ever in your life. You know what I mean? So I felt like after my dad died, he created, like, gave me superpowers because he made me gay. Like, he had a plan. He had that shit. So that ended up happening. But there was nobody like teach me about sex. Even like I had to like discover everything on my own, whether it was like being gay. I didn't even try to research it because I felt like there was nothing out there for me to like look for. And so when it came to sex, I'm like, okay, well, like I know people are enjoying sex, having sex. I didn't, even though at that moment to cover up being gay, I dated men and stuff like that. And even then, I was just like, I need something that's gonna make me get off and feel good. You know what I mean? Like, how does this work? How do you like do it right? You know what I mean? And so I did, at 19 years old, I did research, you know, masturbation and stuff like that. And I'm from the South, so like, please, you know, it's like, you don't just have, sex is not just in front of you. So I actually went to buy my first vibrator at our local flea market because that was just our malls down there. So then
Yes.
I went, and this is before they had like the fancy squiggly vibrators and shit. So I bought like this little metal vibrator. All right, it was a very cheap metal vibrator, and I didn't read the instructions on it, so I started using it in my butthole. And I to this day do not knock butt sex because the shit, what you know, when you only know what you know. You know what I mean? So I was using this vibrator in my butt for like a long time, like years. Okay. And there was like this moment where like I had like the vibrator was so cheap that it started to rust, but just like any toxic relationship, I still went ahead and just used it. To the point where I know it's embarrassing because girls are just like, I've been back there. I was like, I know, but I'm cured. I found a cure. But anyway, so like so then this cheap metal vibrator started rusting, and I continued to use it. So I actually ended up like getting really dizzy and passing out one day. Yeah, and I had to go to the hospital get a tetanus shot because I caught an infection. Yeah, exactly. You go big or go home.
No.
Then I was there. Yeah, I got it. And you guys, in my head the whole time when I was like on the table, like just like with the doctor, whatever, looking at me, checking me out, and figuring out what the fuck, how this happened. You guys, it's one thing to catch, you know, an infection from like STD or whatever like that, but like catching an infection from a rusty vibrator is one of the loneliest infections. It's just like there's nobody to blame. You can't. So you know that was just a big. Oh, that was okay. So fast forward. I'm sorry. I wish I could like. This just came out. Like I just made this shit up. Like I swear. Because it was just like I don't really. I was like, and I couldn't tell anybody. Now I can joke about it and tell it on stage and shit. But I'm just like at the time, like who do you go to? Like, I gotta be telling my mom. Like, like shit. 19 years old. It feels. Yeah. So that no, but that vibrator went on for like it held me down for like at least 6 years. All right. So yeah. It was I felt maybe 3 years in it rusted and then I used it. Okay, yeah, it was exciting. It was like Anthony. I was like an addict to it. Like it was just like I had to. Anyway, so then fast forward. I did move to I did move to DC for a little bit. I lived in DC for like 4 years, but I lived in DC and that's where like I said, hey, there's. Because like in South Carolina at that time, like there are lesbians, but they're all trash. Like it's a hungry lesbian. So when I moved to DC, I was like, okay, there's a bigger scene, and I knew that I had to get out of the South to feel like myself, to feel like I have a purpose, or like that I can see somebody that looks like me, right? And so I was there for a little bit. I still didn't connect to the queer scene. I was more at the gay guy parties and shit like that, and that was fun. But then I'm just like, yo, I kind of want to meet a girl at least at one point. And I did meet some girls, but they were all just like half straight women. I was like the experiment, you know what I mean? So exactly, half straight. And now like it's like you're gay and
half straight.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I live. But then fast forward, I moved to New York. And I got a job working for orthodontist because I feel like here in New York, you either work for the company that you want free shit from or you just steal. You know what I mean? So I got free braces from this orthodontist. And actually from those braces, I actually got like caught really bad TMJ. So like my sex life is different. I can only give head past 10 minutes. You know what I mean? And there's a point where like, girls are like, oh my God, I think I'm wet. And I'm like, no, these are tears because like, I'm crying. Because this shit is fucking painful. Anyway, so I did get my first like real life crush, right? Because all the girls that I had before were just like, I didn't know how to pick girls, how to like pick out a personality and shit. I was like, whoever will give me the attention, I'm happy with. So then I worked for this orthodontist and I had an office crush. I fell in love with this 40-year-old Jamaican woman. They used to come into our office, and you here, and I feel like in Brooklyn, we were the babysitters, okay? We were the orthodontic office, so people just dropped off their kids and like left, you know what I mean? And just trusted that they were just in good hands. So when we saw adults, it was like a whole thing, you know? And or we had adults as patients. So this 40-year-old woman used to come to our office, and you guys, in my mind, I like knew she was probably super straight, had at least 2 kids, you know what I mean? Like I knew all this, like I felt like she was. But I was ready for the sacrifice, you know what I mean? I was ready to talk to this woman and just like let's get past this. Like, let's just see if she'll I'll be her one exception. You know what I mean? Like I was getting paid $13 an hour. Like but I was ready for that sacrifice to support her kids or whatever. You know what I mean? So I had that. So when I was finally ready to ask this woman out, I found out that she was 8 months pregnant at that time. And I know you can tell when a woman's 8 months pregnant, but the thing about it is I'm a receptionist and all of our counters are up to here. So for that first year we working there, all I saw was neck and face, you know what I mean? Like when you're swiping through Tinder or like some dating app, you don't see the rest of the fucking body, but you're hoping that it matches, you know what I mean? This bitch catfished me. She was 8 months pregnant at that time, right? So finally, to fast forward through my story, she disappears for a little while, I guess had that baby or whatever. And, sorry, so sorry. And then before she comes to the office, she calls the office and she's like, hey, Gloria, do you mind if I have a little help with my baby on the next visit? I was like, hell yeah, bring him the dude that fucked our relationship up, right? I want to meet his bitch ass, okay? So finally, when she came into the office, she came in with like this nanny looking chick holding the baby. At that time, the doctor comes up front and says, hey, Gloria, do you see Heather and her partner's new baby? I was like, partner? You mean she's gay? She was a lesbian the entire time. Give me my baby. That is my fucking baby, right? Because that bitch wasn't in my head when I had this life, just created a story in my head. Fuck this. Because technically, either one of us could be that fucking zaddy. You know what I mean? So I really left it like open because I didn't know whether to like let it all go or just pay child support for fun. I don't know. So after that experience and seeing this woman, I became a boob girl. You know what I mean? Like, because pregnant women got some nice titties. You know what I mean? I became like a really strong boob girl. That's kind of the lesbian that I am to this day. You know, but I feel like when you're sucking on a girl's boob, I feel like there's a fine line between making that shit look sexy or you just look like you're breastfeeding. You know what I mean? Because there comes that point where you're making ite contact and it's like, mama. But I say that to say now, okay, I have a wonderful girlfriend. Yeah. Okay, the good kind, you know, they come with exercise and difference, you know what I mean? That's what's happening. I enjoy her. She did give me a free pass recently, okay? She gave me a free pass. And said, you know, you can have any girl you want, like if it's good, like just go ahead for it, you know. And so I put it on Rihanna, you know. I was just like, Riri, I want to fuck Riri. But then like 2 days later, Rihanna got like a fucking like found like now she was pregnant and shit by motherfucking ASAP Rocky, basic ass dude, right? I was so devastated because I'm just like, yo. Now when I'm trying to sleep with like have sex with Rihanna, I gotta worry about this little dude walking around talking about wanting some milk or some shit, you know what I mean? And I gotta like fucking throw him off a balcony because he's about to ruin my fucking dream, you know what I mean? So yeah, and then A$AP Rocky looks like a fucking lesbian, man. You know what I mean? Like I looked at that and I was like, yeah, if you wanted a lesbian, just say that. You know? But I say that to say like it. You know, in all seriousness, like I really did have a moment where I thought that I was suffocating. I didn't have nobody I like that looked like me. And it wasn't until like I moved to Brooklyn, moved to New York, where it's just like, okay. And I tried to explain to this day, my mom was like, yeah, but you know, there's still, my mom's down for it. She loves gay people. She loves that I'm gay. I think she was like, I don't need any more grandkids. She's like, but I still have plans to have kids. I just might be 45 or 50, you know what I mean? So I'm taking a lot of notes from Lois. I feel like that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be like I wanna be like Lois. Like I wanna be like the whole like taper down and like the zaddy. And I'm like, I got this, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be still. I might be carrying the baby. I just wanna make sure the baby's cute, you know what I mean? But no, my girlfriend is very hot, so you know. Well, either way, the baby's gonna be cute. But I would just say that it was nice to like looking back and I see like even the Generation X and stuff like that, how they have people who look like them and they can party with their friends. And I was even at a party where they were majority there. And I was just like, this is nuts. How times have just changed. Because I feel like Cicely Tyson, you know what I mean? Like she's been through all like the generations and like whatever. And I'm just like, for me, myself, I'm just looking like I feel like the 90-year-old woman that's just like, all these people coming about doing shit. But I just say, like, to this day, and I even had a chance for a friend of mine who has a daughter who just came out as gay or queer or whatever. Like, I was able to wish she wanted to do this little collage of videos for her birthday of people that identify with her. And I'm like, yo, I wanted to be, of course, I'm going to be that mom, but I just wish I had somebody as a mom like you. You know, no shade to my mom because she didn't know, you know, when she was in the 1900s, when she was born, that this is going to go down. She wouldn't know that right now, so we know. But don't play with a black mama, okay? But I would just say I say that to say that it means a lot, and I really, to this day, it brings tears of joy when I see like the young kids now. I sound so old, but that are able to have people identify, because like it doesn't feel good to want to be so suicidal just for your own identity because you don't fit in this world. Say, hey, maybe I should die. Maybe I shouldn't be here right now. You know what I mean? And I overcame that. And now I'm like more confident than ever. And I have a fucking roommate that's complaining about my sex life with my girlfriend. So I'm winning right now, y'all. Yeah, man. For the rest of my time. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Come on, everybody, round of applause. Let her hear it. Woo. Oh my God. I'm so glad you survived that rusty vibrator. Was anyone else just like, it was like in my imagery,
Yes.
properness. I was just like, I was going through it in my own head. I was like, damn, she gonna be RoboCop. Like, what is happening? I went through it. With Glow Butler, round of applause again. So sadly, it looks like I'm looking at, it looks like our final storyteller is not going to be here tonight, unfortunately. But I do want to give you guys a huge thank you. Thank you to everyone who came out. Seriously, round of applause.
Woo!
Thank you so much, Dre. Thank you to Dre for like doing this.
Thank you.
Going on for like 8 years, right? 8 years.
Yeah, this is the 8th anniversary show.
And
Yay.
This is,
And it was brilliant. I loved it. Thank you.
this is just, it's just amazing. And for me, like I started performing like in the early 2000s. Oh my God, I have to say that out loud. Yeah, it's true. I know, I started when I was 2. And I mean, it's just nice to be able to do things like this. Thank you, Greg and Donnie. Thank you so much for this. Because I do remember when I started, like I would be booked on shows where I was like the only Black person or the only gay person, or usually both. And they were like, we hit the bingo, you know, it's like a lot like that. And like Lo, like you were saying, like it means a lot. Like that's why I love the fact that if you do the shows that you do, and Los, I love the fact that you do the shows that you do, because having done it for so long where you're the only one, it's nice to be like, oh my God, like there's like more of us and we're all allowed to be on the same show. So this really, really meant a lot to me. And thank you so much, Dre. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Woo, thank you.
And yeah, this is the end. And thank you so much. And also feel free to buy a book from here, because this is a really wonderful place and they deserve our love and support. And have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
And keep throwing money in the bag for all you guys. Put more money in the bag for you, for all of you. More money in the bag for all of you.
Jason, give us the dough. Throw some more shit in there. Even you on notice.
You deserve it.
Oh, that was nice.
Thank you. Who's over there? Hi. Tell Heather to come say hi. Hi.
We hope Memphis is better.
Pass out. Thank you. Wait, tell Heather to say hi.
Okay. My love.
That was amazing.